I received a 1-star review on Fiverr, and I want to show you what actually happened in my case and when you are going through similar situations, because as you know, Fiverr is very big with reviews, especially when you're on the platform and you always want to try to do your best and always have 5-star reviews. But sometimes you'll have cases where you might receive 1-star review, 2-star, 3-star. And throughout my journey, obviously I've been getting some 1-star reviews in the past. I have a total of right now almost 9,500 reviews, and I still have, of course, a few 1-star. They're a lot less. I think it's about, let's double check here on my profile, it's about 12 right now, which is okay, it happens. But recently I received one, and I haven't been receiving for quite some time, probably a year or 2 years. And it's been a very interesting case because this came out of nowhere, in my opinion, and I wanted to show you as well what happened in my case. And like this, you will possibly learn about how you can prevent it from happening. Usually speaking, when I have an order started with a buyer, and I see that, for example, the buyer, let's say, is not happy, or the buyer expects something different, of course we will go for cancellation, because this is something that buyer didn't expect, or they thought I'm going to do something different. And these situations like this happens. Usually we always go for a cancellation, because that's how we will handle. The buyer will actually ask themselves, they'll be like, sorry, this is something that I thought you will do differently, or I just ordered by mistake. Can we have a refund, please? And that's always the case. But here it's been very different, because the buyer was actually enjoying the process. So it happened on my growth gig, which is right here. And as you can see here, when we go down, we see the feedback such as, at first it seems very promising as the account was getting decent amount of traction, the seller was responding regularly. After 2 weeks, I noticed that there is no growth at all, that the buyer is actually just using bot techniques to track bot accounts. Asked the buyer several questions about this, but he failed to respond, blamed the algorithm, I'm dissatisfied, will not recommend, blah, 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 right? So yes, it hurts a lot. And when I see feedbacks like this, I'm just also obviously not happy. But I think I learned throughout the years that whatever you're on Fiverr, or you're on Google, or you're on Yelp, or any other place that people can leave a review, I think it's normal to have those kind of reviews in a way that it could happen and you cannot control it. What happens with Fiverr? So if you receive the negative review, you of course have a chance to submit it to the customer support, and then if they see that this review has went against terms of service, then they're going to remove it. By terms of service, it's a little bit tricky, because the buyer has to actually say something which will hurt you, which will maybe they will say like some bad words about you, which will basically be misleading, and in some way it will look inappropriate, right? And of course I tried to ask the customer support, because I've been having a strong evidence throughout the campaign, and I want to show you how this order has been progressing so far. So first of all, you need to definitely respond to the feedbacks like this, because at the end of the day, when your potential buyer sees this feedback, he's like, okay, but how did the seller respond to this feedback? So what they had to say about it. And in my case, I responded, in my opinion, I think well enough, explained what happened, explained the results, and I think the buyer will understand my situation. And it is very important to, yes, it can be very, and I know how it feels, especially when you are just starting and you got your first, let's say, negative review. It will, hurt you emotionally. But from the algorithm standpoint, it's not the end of the game. At the end of the day, Fiverr only tracks your last 60 days. So within that 60 days periods, if you, let's say, got a negative review, after some time, it's not going to be counted towards your statistics. Yes, it's going to still show on the profile, but at least it's not going to really be hurting you in the algorithm. And in my case, this review didn't really hurt my gig rankings, because of course I do have other orders that are coming on a regular basis, but still it's not something that I can say, oh, this definitely have hurt my reputation. But if we go back to the start of the order here, so I want to just show you what's been happening, because in my case, I do feel it's a little bit unfair. And here you can see we started on October 1st. Promotion is active, everything is good. The buyer, I have notified the buyer, and then he's asking in the same day, in a few hours later, when he's going to receive his hashtags, which is the extra he ordered. I responded that it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and then he's asking about how's the growth is going. I'm attaching him the hashtags, the analysis as well of his account, right? So everything is being very communicated, I would say, on point. And then I'm providing him a weekly report as well on the last 7 days on how we've been performing so far. And then the buyer it seems the account is growing well, blah, blah, blah. He has some issues with getting the likes. And this account, of course, I'm not going to show it the account, but it's a UX, UI account. So the client is sharing his work, his portfolio, right? So of course, it's, I would say, also challenging because with Instagram, you need to really showcase the reels. You know, you need to have yourself. You need to talk about certain things. It's very competitive these days. It's not only enough to just show the pictures and the content, right? Just of your work. You need to really try to step it to the next level. Again, I'm providing the report. The client is asking me, are you satisfied with the progress so far? And of course, I explain, it's really not strange, but of course, I usually ask that client because when you can ask these questions to your client, that way you can expect if they're happy or not. But in this case, we're communicating pretty much on a daily basis and we're staying on top of this. And what I promised as well to him, I promised that I'm going to send him a video analysis. So I'm going to be actually going over his Instagram, giving the tips, because I thought it might just easier to explain because he has some issues with engagement and with posts. And I tried to explain that and give some tips that what he can do to improve that and what he should do, his content strategy with the posting times. So it's been very in-depth, and I usually don't do this all the time, but when I see I can help and really have, maybe try to take it to the next level, I usually do it without any questions. And then he's asking about, I asked him if he had a chance to double check the video because he was not responding actually for a few days now, and he got back to me after 4 or 5 days. He was happy. Thank you much for the video. I'll make the strategy, la la la. So everything is good. And of course, I explained to him I'm also happy how the progress. We've been gaining over 300 people so far, followers in the active people, real people in the last almost 30 days, which is very, very good for his account. And then he was asking about if I wanted to continue for the 3 months, what the price will be. And of course, I respond, he can get a discount, blah, blah, blah. I'm still providing a report, as you can see, on the weekly basis. And then I'm sending him the delivery. And then he messages me actually on the I think the same day or the next day, and he says that he's not happy with the growth. I actually have not responded to this order on time. I think it was because it was the weekend and I didn't just see it right away, and I didn't react it. So I think if I could see that message, of course, what can I do? I will probably try to communicate and say, okay, if you're not happy, I'm happy to provide a refund. Although, it seems to be unfair because we have already completed all the work and all these things have been done. So in my case, what I will be happy to do, I'll be happy to provide an extension, of course, giving him more time, giving him, let's say, giving me more time to work in their account and improve our chances. But honestly, looking at this, it seems to be, it's like a manipulation in one way because the client seems to be very positive throughout the campaign. He has not expressed his concerns. He's been just asking questions. He's been asking advice, which I was providing him. And then at the end, he's writing the review, which is just, I would say, completely relevant to what we've been experiencing so far. But again, he has the right to do so. That's the thing with Fiverr. Fiverr says that the buyer has possibility to express what they feel about it. And yes, it might sound not very fair, but in my experience, going through similar moments like this before, I would say the best is to respond it. The best is to possibly contact the buyer just through inbox, ask him if he actually, let's say, was unhappy or apologize as well. You can do from your side that he felt that way, and that's what I did. I just sent him a message. I apologized, sorry to hear about this experience, and I said I thought we did pretty well. I have provided you the hashtags, the analysis. Of course, it takes time, but thank you for your trust using my service, and that's it. So you should not try to do and something like, oh, can we change review? I'm going to give you a refund. It's just going to be, you're going to be playing with the fire, because at the end of the day, Fiverr sees that, or this buyer will be going to the Fiverr and say, hey, this buyer is asking me to change my feedback, and he will refund me the order, right? You will get hurt really bad. Fiverr might just disable your account. So I'm very, I'm extremely careful with these things as well. And at the end of the day, it's just one review. So of course I have other buyers that I'm working with that are happy with progress. So you just want to focus on that, what you can do. Again, if you're getting, also if you got a review like this, 1 star, first of all, just don't take an action in the first hour or so, because you will usually be emotionally and you will be like, oh, I should probably contact this, or I should send the support, I should maybe send a message to buyer. Remember, every message you send to the buyer on Fiverr, it won't be deleted. So the Fiverr support can see it, the other managers can see it, and it's just going to be always there. The best way is to just analyze the situation a little bit, right? And then when you're going to be submitting this, for example, to the customer support to potentially remove, and just look at the review. If they feel this review is really misleading, they will most likely remove it. But you also need to provide them some proof, right? Proof could be the report of your work, what you have done, maybe screenshots that the buyer was happy with the progress, right? Just giving that sort of proof so the support can see, and then they can evaluate your situation. In my case, they looked at my case and they said there was nothing wrong that the buyer did. The review is not misleading. The review doesn't go against our terms of service. So in my case, I just say thank you for checking that. And it's time to move on, and it's time to focus on other buyers and maybe learn a lesson from this case again. So yes, when you're on Fiverr and you have a case like this, it's extremely disappointing. And when you most likely do this, you're running your agency outside of Fiverr, working with clients directly, you have more flexibility. You can refund the order, you can, the buyer probably will not go and leave a feedback right away. You can solve this situation, but I think there's always positives and negatives everywhere if you're running your agency on Fiverr or off Fiverr. Fiverr is great because once you build your reputation, you can get a lot of potential buyers, messages as well. So it creates a good traffic source for your agency and a good income source as well. So guys, hope that was useful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much again for your feedback, for watching these videos, previous videos as well. If you've experienced something similar, feel free to share. Feel free to share if you maybe had similar case and Fiverr support was able to help you, or in my cases before, I remember I had some reviews where the buyer will just threaten me and just saying really bad words about me, and when I was contacting Fiverr found that yes, that was something that not acceptable on the platform. And at the end of the day, I'm not like an enemy to the buyer. So these cases, of course, will be happening. Hopefully they will not happen to you, but it's still possibility, and you just need to react appropriately and talk with the support and explain them the situation. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm excited to see you in the next video.